Okay, we're going back into the Nightmare Zone. This is the post-Go Bag episode 85. I actually got a lot of shout-outs. We haven't had those in a while, so let's go ahead and go through those. We got Jordan RF, who wanted to shout out to his dog, Sunny. Apparently he doesn't like cats, but that's okay. We can't all be men of refined culture. Next up, shout out to Richard Corey. He's actually been with the channel for a pretty long time. Apparently that isn't his real name. What a mysterious fellow. After that, we've got XX Autumn Gaming. Good thing it wasn't XXX, otherwise that would be that'd be extremely naughty, and this is a Christian channel. There's no doubt about that. I am just a saint. I think we'll all agree. Anyways, shout out to Scott Hemmer. Hopefully I didn't scribble his name so poorly that I can't even read my own handwriting. And lastly, shout out to Douglas Ritchie. Those are all the shout outs. So today, it is nighttime, it seems.
Wanna give me a hand here?
Wonderful. Gotta love nighttime in State of Decay too. So I guess the first thing I want to see, who are all these allies? Huh. I don't remember having so many allies. The Moonshiners. Oh, okay, these are the guys who are, so we actually do want to rescue these guys. The Moonshiners are the food community that... Oh wait, I gotta change my settings. There we go. Alright, so, who is this? Eli? Eli just did that challenge, so let's let him take a break. So today, I want this to be kind of a more casual episode, because we're going to talk a little bit about the Go Bag DLC, and I'm going to answer some of the criticisms of the video. There weren't very many, but some of them were interesting, and it also gives me a chance to talk about perspectives on things.
These damn screamers always give me...
Oh, this guy's on guard duty, so it really doesn't matter what we equip him with. Let's go send out Mackie the Nightman. He is the guy who's specifically supposed to be the safest to play at night. I've been really happy with Mackie's build. I mean, there's some improvements we could make. Like, I don't want weapons handling, I would like gunslinging. It doesn't really matter what his melee skill is, it could be anything, to be honest. But this combination of driving, stealth, and backpacking, I've liked that quite a bit. Oh, he's already equipped too, jeez. It's almost like I knew I wanted to use Mackie. Go ahead and cure our infection level. And let's also check to see if we need to activate our buildings. I'm gonna wait and sit on this until that activates so we can turn them on simultaneously. Oops. Oh yeah, I think we need to get this going as well. Who invited him? The answer is no one. Well, we got a lot of medicine in there. Can put one in. Oh, come on. There we go. Wow. We have so much excess stuff here, and I can't really even do anything with it. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, it means that we are overstocked, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, we need to start converting some of these materials into parts. There we go. Let's call out another... Honestly, let's just make a few canisters of gas. I'll take us down to 20. Not sure if you can hear my cat howling in the background, but that's one of his favorite activities, is howling like a dog. I see you back there, cat. What are you howling about? You just like to stay in the background and stare at me and howl for some reason. I wonder if they're ever going to get picked up by the microphone. I have the microphone designed where it's pretty good about picking up what I want and what I don't want. But sometimes he can be pretty loud. Let's go rescue this guy. Anyway, so yeah, if you did watch the Go Bag video, basically they're adding a bunch of new weapons, 10. One of them they didn't show us, they only showed us 9. It looks like the 10th one was another type of gun, possibly a type of long-range gun based on its silhouette. Apparently the weapon just isn't quite ready yet, but of the 9 weapons they showed, 2 of them are melee weapons, a blunt weapon, and a close combat weapon, and then the rest are a bunch of other just weapons. And a lot of them are commemorative weapons to various State of Decay content producers, like... some of them I haven't heard of, like Mr. Dart, I'm not familiar with him. But some of them, on the other hand, are people. I have heard of the Blaze Experience, and I have heard of Fall Down, Go Boom, for example. Oh, do I not have a silencer on this? Let's fight outside. Wow, can I not get outside? Oh, there's a door in the way. I need at least the light from the moon. Oh wow, I'm out of stamina. It looks like we're gonna have a fight here. Let's try to get some of their legs off to reduce their mobility.
Hey everyone, we've got a yard sale going. Come see us.
Okay. We really need to shut these screamers up.
Stay alive, okay?
Screamers are in the back some. Okay, there's one of them.
That shut you the fuck up.
Okay. Now we need to start dealing with these guys. What are you doing? Why would you execute? Oh, maybe that one wasn't. Maybe that one was standing. Oh, they're still attacking. Oh man, these guys have determination. Okay. My friends and I found a stash of alcohol last night. I got drunk and woke up here alone. Dangerous area for a pub crawl. Let's get you home
It's
and
okay.
sobered
I'll
up.
get you home safe.
Thank you, like, really.
No biggie.
That one took a little bit of doing, but let's see how much damage the axe took pretty serious damage, which is not too surprising. Not good to have a silencer off the weapon, though. We're gonna have to visit an outpost to attach the silencer. So there's one right over here, so let's go ahead and visit this one real quick. Let's not bash through one of the windows. Okay, step one, we need a silencer. There we go. Let's repair this weapon. Put this away. Grab a few bullets. And let's heal our injury. Vehicle state is still fine. Oh my gosh. Get in. The AI, though. Whoa, whoa, bloater. Let's not have our vehicle get fumigated. So originally today I was going to take the day off, but honestly I'm like, you know what? I still feel pretty good despite the extended day I was spent producing the other videos, so I'm not going to take the day off. I'm actually just going to make another video. This video is going to be uploaded a lot later though, because I am recording at 2:27. Which means it'll probably be up around 7 or 8 p.m. my time.
Shit, I'm beat.
Another survey car. I'll take it, I mean, why not? I do like that color blue, like that's the channel colors here, like, I mean a little too light blue, but yeah, dark blue and orange, that's the channel colors.
I'll be damned. We made it. There's gin out back if you need a little hair of the dog.
Quest completed?
Jin, that's twice today somebody saved my life.
Yep, alcohol is valuable, that's true.
Really.
Guess while we're here we can just quick loot everything.
Just what the doctor ordered.
More parts, which reminds me that I need to activate this.
Congrats.
Out of my way. I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll leave it. Actually, I might just sell it to them while they're here.
More crap. This load's gonna wear me out. Okay, let's do this.
What are you selling?
Might as well.
Alcohol, not too surprising. We'll keep the generator, actually. You never know when people want a generator. People are crazy like that. They always want generators. Let's go and... Okay, that one doesn't count. That's the new beginning. Anyway, so yeah, the Go Bag DLC video came out, which I finally got to. I wanted to make sure, I wanted it the same day, but I didn't realize how much editing it actually took in the end. I figured it would be a really easy job, but the lifting the video sound bites actually takes a bit of effort. One of the things that annoyed me about producing it was that I couldn't alter the audio separately from the Undead Labs. And the reason that was annoying was because sometimes their game audio is just way too loud, and you just can't hear anything that they're saying. And without access to all of the audio tracks, I can't control that. Basically, it's kind of like with your TV. If you turn the volume up, it turns all the volume up. Like, you can't differentiate between the music and the voices and maybe sound effects.
Thanks again for all the help the sheriff provided. We had a little extra, so we figured we'd share.
And that's one of the things that's very valuable, is separating your overall file into a variety of audio tracks. Let's since we're not getting any quests right now, let's just try and grab some extra fuel, just things that we typically need, because we could just convert the fuel into a ton of fuel canisters. But that helps to make your audio sound so much better, and you can do it on stream as well. Like, just because just because it's a live stream does not mean that you can't control the sound of the audio of both the voice and the game. Got 1 can of fuel, but I'd really like a rucksack of fuel. Nice. Maybe I should have brought the cargo vehicle, now that I think about it. Because we're already starting to run out of inventory. Although at the same time, I wasn't necessarily intending to do like a cargo sweep. So I guess it's understandable. Anyways, though, so yeah, the video got really good reception. Like, there were a few people who disagreed with my assessment, or they thought maybe I was too hard on Undead Labs. One of the ones I want to talk about is, basically someone was like, you know...
You want me to say it? Fine.
Oh my god, I hate when I keep constantly getting interrupted by these. I just need them to shut up for a little bit. So one of the responses was, if I don't like it, why don't I go make my own zombie game? And the funny thing is, there's actually a lot more wisdom in this than perhaps he believed. Or, I mean, like, maybe not. Maybe I'm assuming that he's not aware of it, but that's actually a pretty smart thing in general, is business opportunities exist wherever pain, confusion, discomfort exist. If you hear somebody has a problem about something, that's potentially a business opportunity. So, it's really true that if you don't like something, especially if there's a consensus that a lot of people don't like this particular something, that, yeah, that's a business opportunity right there. So there's quite a bit of wisdom in that. I learned that from a book called Unscripted, which was written by the author M.J. DeMarco. And that's one of the things he's always saying, is, you know, always keep your ears open for when people say, I hate this, or I wish, or this really annoys me. He's like, when you hear those words, like, those are business opportunities right there. So while I believe he was just trying to make a snarky comment, there's actually a lot of wisdom in that. And one of the things I do is I listen to when people say things on my videos like, oh, if only I knew how to do this, or oh man, if only this was in the game. And if I know how to do that, well, that's a video opportunity. If
I'm right here.
And that's why I started making the 5th skills, for example. There are a lot of people saying like, oh, what skills should I pick? What skills should I pick? I wish I knew what skills were the good ones. And I said, well, that if one person is having a problem with that, then certainly a number of people are having a problem with that. So what does this guy want? Oh, he's a trader. This blade did irreparable damage. I won't be sorry to see it go.
Make you an offer.
I'm on board.
Sure.
Wonderful.
Let me make you an offer.
I'm on board.
What if I sell it right back? Mission complete.
Much obliged. Watch yourself.
What a stupid quest.
We better clear out some infestations before we're up to our ass in Z's.
Let me, so I want to look for fuel and ammo right now. Fuel and ammo is always nice. Let's check some of these sheds. Sometimes sheds are ammo sheds, so typically they are material or miscellaneous. But yeah, that's the first thing, was, you know, why don't you make your own zombie game? I specifically said if you think it's so easy, which, like, I didn't say it was easy. In fact, I actually acknowledge that some of the things are hard, but, you know, I'm not going to nitpick what he said. I understand the essence of what he's saying. The essence of what he's saying is, if you don't like it, why don't you go and make your own version of it? And I think that's actually pretty good advice. I'm already doing something. I'm making a YouTube channel, and I don't have any interest in creating a video game. At least not right now. Who knows what I will do if I become successful in the future, but right now I have no interest in it, and that leads to kind of a secondary issue. Now, he didn't say this, but I imagine if the conversation went on, it would go into kind of this idea where you can't criticize something unless you are also that thing. And what I mean by that is,
Nothing here.
you'll sometimes hear, like, if you criticize a game, someone will say, well, like, you don't make the game, so, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't make the game, so, you know, why should anyone care about what you have to say? One of the answers there is no one should care intrinsically what anyone has to say. Like, people determine for themselves, so, like, that's the first answer. Like, no one should necessarily care about really what anyone should say. You just determine that over time, whether you value what someone says. But the reason why I always take issue, and like I said, he didn't say this, but I feel like it would lead into this, and it's a very common argument, is that if you don't like something and you are not that thing, then you don't have, like, the justification to criticize it. I would say that if you are that thing, so in this case a video game developer, it increases your credibility, but I would never say that you would need to be that thing, because that would be similar to going to a restaurant and you didn't like the food, and you want to say, you know, yeah, I didn't really like the food there. The food wasn't good. I thought it was kind of crummy, actually. And the response is, well, you know, why don't you go make your own restaurant then? Or why don't you go, or, you know, why should anyone care what you say? You're not, like, a food connoisseur, or you're not a chef. Like, why should anyone care what you have to say? And it's just kind of silly, because if that were the case, then very few people would be able to criticize much of anything. Because the vast majority of us are not the profession that we are criticizing. In addition to that, you know, there's no reason. You don't need to be a chef or a connoisseur of food in order to deliver, in order for you to make up for your own mind and say, hey, you know what, I don't like this. You don't need, you know, I trust when people say they don't like something. I'm like, okay, he doesn't like it. Like, what further justification does he need? Other than that, it's not doing it for him. And that's one of the things I think. I don't think that it's necessary in the slightest that you need to be acquainted with the trade skill that you are criticizing. Now, it can improve your credibility. There's no doubt about that, but it's certainly not a necessity. And obviously, if every single time you dislike something, the logical answer is, oh, well, you need to go and produce a new version of it. Like I said, I think there's wisdom in that, but at the same time, obviously, not everyone is going to do every single thing that they dislike. And it's silly to make that some kind of arbitrary requirement. That's what I think about the first one, because it's a very common criticism. I hear it not just on my channel, but on the internet in general. You'll just hear it really frequently that if you aren't an expert or if you're not doing it yourself, then you can't criticize it. I personally believe that it's basically a snarky way of saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, which is not something I believe in. I believe that if you have something to say, just say it. By staying silent, you don't change anything when you stay silent. Now, I don't think people need to go out of their way to be rude, which that's why I asked, you know, do you think I go too hard on Undead Labs? I like to know if people think that I'm being rude or not, or if I'm getting too snarky with them, but I felt like I had an appropriate level of snark. After all, my channel is infotainment. I'm here to educate and entertain. But wait, what was I doing here? I think I was going to empty out my inventory. Yeah, we had a bunch of stuff we wanted to throw in. Yeah, let's go drop this stuff off and get the cargo vehicle. Another reason why I can be a bit hard on Undead Labs is I don't like it when they want to have their cake and eat it too. And what I mean by that is there was a statement that Aaron made where first Mark began. Mark started out by saying, well, there's a lot of clamor for people like, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And then Aaron chimed in and she said, well, then we're going to tell you what we're going to do next. Except you're not. You're not telling us what you're going to do next. That's something that I should have expressed in the video. But They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to seem like they are the good guys. And they want to, basically, they want to be able to be hush-hush and be like, oh, we're following Microsoft's rules and not spilling the trade secrets. But at the same time, they want to seem like the good guys. We're like, oh yeah, we're being super transparent. We're telling you what's coming out next. Except they're not. They're not telling us what's coming out next. Like, nobody knows, except for the people at Undead Labs and maybe the people at Microsoft, what they're going to be working on next. Like, what's the next substantial piece of content? I have no idea, so they're not telling us what's next. They are keeping us in the dark. And when statements like that are made, like, I can't help but be a bit snarky. Like, I think it just calls for it.
Shut you the fuck up.
When you want your cake and you want to eat it too, but you either can't have one or the other, I'm going to say something about it. But that was one of the big issues. Overall, that is my biggest issue with the Go Bag stream. Yeah, if they want to add in weapons as kind of like a, hey, this is just to hold you over, that's fine. But if this is just to hold us over, then it implies that there's something else that's going to be made. Let's make some pyro launcher ammo. Spend our fuel on a variety of things. Make some more cans of fuel. I think I hear a bloater sneaking up behind me. Yep. That a screamer? Yes, it is. Wow, 2 misses.
That shut you the fuck up.
So if the bloater getting popped did not draw everyone's attention, certainly the scream. Oh, I guess the zombies don't seem super motivated right now. They're just shambling around like usual. Generally speaking, when a screamer screams, you should take it seriously. Just because you get a screamer like this one, where you didn't have to take it too seriously, you should still just, by default, take screamer screams seriously. That is a pretty good piece of advice I'll give you. Let's make some fuel bombs. Okay, we can put a lot of these in. Oh, sounds like a little bit of thunder overhead. That means I'm going to go ahead and make one of these to stay under capacity, even though it is a bit inefficient. We got medicine in here. Let's transfer these over so we can free up some space. One of these in. Let's get 2 repair kits out. Okay, we'll use these because I'm impatient. Let's just top this vehicle off. Oh, looks like it doesn't need fuel. Convenient. Wandering trader. She wants some materials? Sure, I'll give you some materials. We've got plenty of them after all. So the second criticism I got was from a regular viewer, actually, so that automatically means I put more value in it. And he thought I was being a little too mean. But in particular, I mean, there's nothing to say about that. If that's the way he feels, then, well, it's the way he feels. But the interesting part is he asked me, would I want to be treated in the same way? And this is an interesting question because I have a very different perspective on this than most people, and because my answer is yes, I actually would prefer to be treated that way. I expect if I make something people don't like, yeah, I expect people to absolutely go balls to the walls, no mercy on me. That's an expectation I have. And I have that expectation because, well, I've spent a good amount of time on the internet, on forums, on social media, on Chan image boards, and I know that on the internet, everyone wants to, like, unleash their fury on people, and I don't fault them for that. And the reason I don't fault them for that is because people get tired of the trappings of society. They get tired of, you know, wearing the different masks they need to in order to get along with others. And when you get on the internet, it's just a chance for you to say what you really want to say and not have to worry about all of the ramifications. There could still be some ramifications. And as a result, like, that's fine. Like, if people want to go all out on me, then go all out on me. I view it as two opportunities, because the channel has had some haters. Not too many, but we have had some relatively determined haters. The first thing I do is maybe it's a chance to learn about why they don't like the channel. Sometimes people thought that the production was really cheap, and sometimes well, most of the time they're right. And usually to improve it, it's something that's currently beyond my skill level. But if somebody doesn't like the production, that tells me that my current level of skill is insufficient to make him happy. And is it realistic that I could improve my skill level to make him happy? And the answer is yeah. I mean, I could always learn more. It's very realistic that I could improve my production value. So, you know, in that case, he's right. Some people, they just have a problem with my personality, and even though it's unlikely I'm going to change my personality, I still like to learn what about it they don't like. Because maybe there are things that maybe I can round the edges off a little bit. But despite the harshness of the criticism, whether they mock me or whether they want to, you know, go easy on me or whether they want to go all out on me, I still try to collect the information from them. In addition to that, I also use it as an opportunity to exercise my patience. So, you know, some people, they can be pretty critical. They can be, like, I would call them haters. But honestly, when you have your haters, that's your opportunity to exercise your patience. You know, if you're thinking about typing up some type of, like, big old, like, oh, I'm going to show this guy what's what, it doesn't really accomplish too much. I mean, you could say that maybe you're defending yourself, which I do. I'm more than willing to defend myself on subjects. But I'm always asking myself, what do I get out of this? Like, what's the value out of it? One value that's always there is you learn to cope with people that don't like you, which is a very important skill to not just gain, but also maintain. Like, for example, I might make 20 videos in a row and get nothing but positive comments, and then I'll get a negative comment, and that'll burst my bubble, and I'm like, wait a second, I got a negative comment? That's not a good sign. If that's how you feel, so yeah, I'm using myself in this case, when I get this feel that, hey, someone gave me a negative comment, they can't do that, that's immediately telling me that, hold on a second, I'm starting to think that I was about to get demonetized. My crap doesn't stink. And that's a bad sign. So when people are harsh, sometimes I don't respond immediately. Like, I might pass over that comment for a while until I think about what to say. And this is where, like, why do I always reference Azrael and Rousey? It's not just because I like Deltarune and Undertale, which is true, I do like Deltarune and Undertale. Ah, he still screamed. He still got it off. But one of the lessons I learned from Rousey is, and also from the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but really, playing Deltarune kind of wrapped it all together, is, what is the nicest thing I can genuinely say to someone at times? That's some of the things that I'll wonder about. Ah, look at this, the feral heard the scream, so he coming for me? And he ran in a straight line. Never run in a straight line. Objects may appear closer in the scope than they actually are. Wow, that didn't count as a hit?
I need a break. Down to my last one.
Is that a screamer? No. Same color scheme, though. That looks like a screamer, though. Ah, I didn't get him. Wow, he got up fast. Look how fast he got up. Not gonna get up from that. But yeah, that's one thing I try to do. I try to, like, what's the... If I can't come to terms with them, what is the nicest thing that I can say to them? And I'm not talking about some, like, crappy boilerplate, like, oh, thank you, you know, like, thank you for visiting, etc. I do try to think, like, what's the nicest thing? What have they done that is a good thing? And, you know, it might be that they watched the video. Like, I am grateful for that. Even if they left a hostile comment, I'm glad they watched the video. That's something that I could genuinely be grateful to them for. And even if they're like, oh, I didn't watch the video, I just clicked it and left you a comment and a dislike, well, then I can say, well, I'm glad you clicked the video, because that's true. I'm also glad that they clicked the video. I'm glad that they left a comment. I am glad that they left a dislike, because it is the only time dislikes, in fact, dislikes tend to not matter too much, because if you get a ton of dislikes, it means your video is controversial, and the YouTube algorithm knows that people love watching controversial videos. So the, really any type of interaction is typically viewed as a good interaction. I mean, if you're getting downvoted, like, it's called getting ratioed. If you're getting, like, a ton more downvotes than upvotes, that's usually a bad sign if it's a trend. But every now and then, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But that's never happened to any of them. None of my videos have been ratioed before. But I try to think, like, what's the nicest thing I can say that I'm genuinely grateful for? That isn't just like a generic, hey, thanks for visiting Taco Bell, or thanks for shopping at Target or something. I do try to think of, like, what is genuinely something I'm grateful for. And, like, that, like I said, that is something that I learned from Rouse, that, yeah, you can sometimes kill people with kindness. At the same time, I don't think that's always the answer. Sometimes I think you do need to kill people with anger instead of killing people with kindness. So this last one can sometimes be a bit... Oh, never mind, we found it. Take that. But to wrap up my thought on that is, so when people ask, you know, would you like to be treated that way? The answer is yes. Like, if people want to unleash their anger upon me, that's fine. Like, I understand that people need to unleash their anger. And I also don't expect people to, it's not an expectation of mine that people need to justify their anger. If you just want to hate on me, that's fine. You can hate on me, because I'm still giving you a service in a way. I'm giving you a target for your anger. I'm okay with that as well. It's like, not everybody needs to explain why they're angry. Sometimes people just need to be angry for a bit. And I'm okay with that, too. And it's not to say that I'm impervious to getting annoyed at things, but I do my best to view those moments as times for me to sharpen my character. And part of the reason for that is because I don't view negativity as a bad thing, and I don't view positivity as a good thing. I just see them as things. They just are. Like, I don't think that having only positivity in your life is good, and I don't think having only negativity in your life is good, because it leads to some kind of weird imbalance. And I explained one of the reasons right earlier was that if all I have are positive responses on my video, then I start to get big-headed. I start to think that, oh yeah, you know, no one dislikes my videos. So like when people leave a negative response, sometimes my initial reaction is, what? How dare somebody leave a negative response? But then I realize that, no, I've gotten accustomed to good responses, and that's not good. I'm setting myself up for unnecessary anger over something that you shouldn't be getting upset about. So, yeah, and I mean, I may not respond immediately to those comments, and sometimes I don't even know what to say. Sometimes I'm like, you know, I just don't know what to say to this guy. And that's when I'll just try to think of something that I'm generally grateful for. But at the same time, like, I'm not upset with those comments. And if I am upset, I get over it. And I'm glad to be kept grounded to the earth in the end. So that is how I feel about if people want to treat me harshly. It's something that I expect, something that I embrace, and that's really, once again, like, why do I talk about Rousey and Azrael so much? Azrael's the opposite half of that. He's the guy who learned to cope with pain and suffering. Pain and suffering he definitely wasn't ready for, but he managed to he didn't overcome it completely intact. There's no doubt that he wound up emotionally traumatized by it in the story, but he wound up incredibly strong as a result of overcoming hardship, overcoming strife, overcoming pain, and that's something that I admire quite a bit. It's the reason why people say cold showers are good for you, not just physiologically. There are physiological benefits to it, but the psychological benefits. If you force yourself to do something that you don't want to do, most people don't want to take a cold shower, it can improve your receptiveness to things in the future that you don't want to do, but are either necessary or are good for you. Maybe you don't like going to the gym because it's painful, it's not comfortable, but it's something that you know you should do, and it's something that you would know it would be good for you. It's that learning to accept that with improvement comes pain. That's really one of the main lessons of Azrael. I mean, there's other vital lessons that Azrael teaches. There's too much to discuss in a single episode, and I may never discuss all the lessons of, because I don't even know I'd have to play Undertale many times to catch everything, and I'd have to listen to other people express their thoughts about it, but there's so much to learn in Toby's games. And that's part of why I look at things differently than other people, because I'll bring another philosopher into it. I believe Plato was quoting Socrates, his mentor, was that follow the argument. That's what he said, and what he meant by that is go where the argument is going. Even if the argument is going somewhere you don't like, and it's like, maybe you hate it. You're like, I can't stand the way that the argument is going. It's very emotionally difficult to listen to arguments you disagree with. But that was Plato's advice. Not that you need to agree with the way the argument is going. Maybe it's your goal to counteract the argument, but if you don't follow the argument, then how can you counteract it? But once again, the hidden underlying message is that you need to embrace the pain and discomfort. And the Chinese, like I said, the Taoists, those who believed in the yin and the yang, they didn't view negativity and positivity necessarily as good and bad, because they're necessary parts of life. And if they're necessary, then it's not appropriate to view them as good and bad. If they need to be part of your life, then they just are. And yeah, there are downsides to only having positivity. If you only have positivity, then you make yourself vulnerable to negativity. You start to sniff your own farts, and you start to think that your farts don't stink. That's one of the dangers of excessive positivity. There's nothing to remind you that your farts do indeed stink.
Can't do it.
Let's just go ahead and let Mackie put this stuff in. He did put the effort into collecting it after all. Apologies as well if I was rambling a bit. It's very difficult to play the game and plot out my objectives while wait, I just teleported that in. So maybe we're just close enough to do it. Oh yeah, we're close enough. Let's go ahead. Let's actually make some ammo. I want some 7.62 rounds. Put a fuel in. Looks like it is just now starting to rain. That's not good, as it can interfere with my electronics. But hopefully, it holds. One thing I will say is the message I'm speaking. It's very easy, very hard to apply it. It's not easy to say, you know, like take your lumps and say, oh yeah, please sir, give me more. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't defend yourself. That's absolutely not the message. The message is that you should not be afraid, or you shouldn't even push away negativity. Like you should accept and overcome it. There is such a thing as being in over your head, which is why you need people to support you in your struggles. Let's go ahead and drop this on the ground, which will make it easier to change weapons. But I definitely think that the greatest amount... I feel like people grow the most under pressure. Like, a lot of people say you always need to have a positive mental outlook. You know, you always need to, like, pretend that you're happy. You always need to, like, you know, if you're losing in a game, just, like, lie to yourself and deny that you're upset. I actually believe the opposite is true. If you're upset about something, like, I don't think it's a good idea to lie to yourself and just try to, like, use sheer willpower to deny that you're upset. I think you should just experience being angry. And I find that if you just accept that you're angry about something, like what does it feel like to be angry? Then sometimes you'll find that, like, I'm angry over something that isn't that significant, and I'm now experiencing what it's like to be angry over something that wasn't it's not as significant as I thought. Or maybe if you accept that, you know, I'm really upset about this and I'm not going to, like, deny it, sometimes you realize, well, maybe there's something I can do about it so that I don't have to be upset anymore. Or maybe you're like, maybe he's right. Maybe he's... I mean, fine. We'll talk about a little bit about the name of the channel. I would not have named myself Get Good Fox and basically try to hijack a pejorative term if I did not believe that when people tell me that, hey, I need to get good, that maybe they're right. Maybe you do need to get good. In fact, if you get your butt kicked in a game, like, hey, you need to get good. Well, it may not feel good to hear that, but in many times, it's true. If your skills were insufficient, and if it's a competitive game and you're trying to improve at this game, you want to play effectively, then maybe it's better to say, you know, he's right, I do need to get good, rather than to just try to save face. I mean, you may as well try to save face. I mean, there's nothing wrong with arguing and duking it out and defending yourself, but when all's said and done and you sit back and reflect upon it, sometimes it's true. Sometimes you do need to get good. If it's something that you are trying to become better at. If you're just playing casually because you don't care, that's something different. But, you know, like, I'm playing Smite. I'm really bad at Smite. And if someone's like, haha, you suck at Smite, well, it's true. And if someone's like, oh, you need to get good, I am trying to get good at Smite, so they're right, I do need to get good. And I don't try to fight that fact.
Yeah, that'll keep you quiet.
Can I at least knock him over? Oh, I interrupted him. I don't think I killed him, but let's pick off some of the other zombies. And that's part of the meaning of, like, at the end of every episode, I always say the same thing. You don't have to be good to get good. And, like, the meaning of that saying, well, part of the meaning of it, is that if you were already good, then you wouldn't need to get good. So if you need to get good, then it means, well, you're probably not good. And even if you're a decent player, there's always room to improve. And so part of the meaning of the ending is that being good is not a requirement to improve, because that's the attitude a lot of people have. Like, some of my friends, they won't try a game because they're like, oh, I'm not good at that game, though. Or they might say, I don't want to try to meditate. I don't want to learn meditation because my mind is always racing. It would be hard to meditate. Well, that's exactly why you do need to meditate. Or sometimes I hear, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm not good at lifting weights. Well, that's why you're supposed to go to the gym. Like, if you were already good at lifting weights, the pressure, the necessity to go to the gym wouldn't be there as much. But if you're bad at lifting weights, then sure, of course, like, that's probably why you should lift weights. In other words, that if you're already good at something, you wouldn't need to learn it, and there would be no necessity to become better. Like, you need to get good because you're not good at something. It's a conditional thing, and that's why it's okay to be bad at something, because you have to be bad before you're good. And that's why you don't have to be good to get good. That's part of the meaning of that saying I came up with. That's also why I don't criticize people when they're bad at the game. You know, if someone's like... the most common one is actually on my Stardew Valley videos, the fishing video. Most people are like, oh, I'm so bad at fishing. I never criticize people because I was really bad at the fishing minigame in Stardew Valley as well. And everyone starts out bad. No one starts out good. Even if you have talent, if someone is like talented at drawing, for example, it's typically not because they were born with some kind of innate gift of drawing, so much as they started probably when they were like a little kid and they just liked drawing, and they spent years drawing by the time they got to school. So when you see them in high school and they're very good at drawing, it's more likely because they were drawing since they were like 3 or 4 and they just never stopped. So you're actually seeing is like 10, 12 years of casual drawing experience. Maybe it wasn't professional training, but nevertheless, like 12 years of drawing for fun, yeah, you're going to get good. And while most people will say it was talent, here we go, we've got 5, so we might be able to do that challenge. Kill the 5 infestations with a melee weapon. But those are my thoughts on it. That's what I think about it. So today, a little bit different episode. You know, I just wanted to think about some things, just wanted to express some thoughts, and also give perhaps a different perspective on subjects that you probably yourself have heard of online, and why I believe I have a different view on it than the typical person. At any rate, we got a decent amount of stuff done. We did some looting. We looted some... we just said that. We did some looting. We did some quests. This area is finally grown enough. We've more or less gardened this area to do the melee challenge. What I might do is just wait the night out off screen so that I can do it in the daytime. But yeah, that's that. I don't know when I'm going to attempt the melee only infestation challenge, but it's something that I will do in the near future. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Like this video if it was entertaining. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, if you agree or disagree with my assessment of things, or if it was something that you hadn't thought of before. Subscribe for future State of K2 content. Of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.